Welcome to the Smart Stack. This is Sara Goulder, where we talk about everything tech. Today we are with Krishna Surendra, CEO of HR Cloud. Welcome.
Thanks, Sarah.
So, Krishna, before we get started, can you share a little bit about yourself and HR Cloud for those who are unfamiliar with it?
Sure. I'm Krishna Surendra, CEO of HR Cloud, and I started my tech career as a software engineer, and then I entered the HR tech space back in 2011, and I worked in the company called Neogo, focused on government, public sector HR software, and then we co-founded HR Cloud back in 2016, and we focus on this problem, which is focused on employee onboarding, automation, and employee experience. That's the product we started with. And then since then, I grew from a CTO role to a CEO role. Now I'm focused on sales, product, customer expansion, and every aspect of the company.
And how big is HR Cloud?
We are a 60-member team, and we are spread in different countries. So we're based in US, Los Angeles, and we have staff in Croatia, Europe, and development staff in Vietnam as well. And we cater for companies across the globe, primarily focused on North America, US, Canada, but then we do have around 20% of our customers from Europe as well.
Sounds good. And you mentioned that you've been CEO now for about 3 years.
Close to 3 years, yeah.
Okay. And that you had an original vision for the platform, like really employee onboarding. How has that evolved over the past 3 years?
Definitely. When we started, just focus on one niche, which is employee onboarding and the paperwork automation, etc. As we started adding more customers and listening to their pain points and what else would they like to see within our product suite, we developed additional feature functionality to cater to their requirements. Now, the vision for me as a company CEO and my founder is to empower companies globally to engage, retain, hire talent, in addition to streamlining their operations to be better. That's the vision for HR Cloud, focusing more on employee experience as a whole, as opposed to one aspect of employee onboarding.
I think everyone saw during the pandemic, the whole HR experience kind of blew up or shifted in a way that they weren't expecting because everyone started working from home. Now that we're post pandemic, how do you think companies are shifting to think about the employee experience, onboarding, and retention? Do you think it's going back to the old way? Do you think now, because many companies might be hybrid, that again, they have to look at things differently? Like, what are your customers telling you?
Yeah, definitely. There's like three aspects to it. One is before pandemic, which is something we've known. And during pandemic, the first 2 years when there's COVID-1, COVID-2, etc. And then after the fact and post pandemic, which is now. So about the time when everybody's working from home and nobody gets to go to office, there is a big problem. How do we engage their workforce, right? So everybody's working from home in a hybrid setup and they don't have an office to go to. Emails just don't cut it, right? So you sure they would be using a solution like Teams or Slack to communicate, but that's about it. But how do you make sure there is open communication from top down and bottom up, and also create a culture where everybody feels like they're connected to the organization? And also, we would have seen a fundamental shift in the way people operate and people work in a company. And there's a lot of transition. Employees are leaving companies for a better job. And that's been happening around 2023 period, right? So one of the product that we offer for our customer base is focused on solving this very niche, which is focused on employee retention, communication, engagement. It's a product called Workmates. And that particular product got a lot of traction during that time period during COVID. Pandemic right now, what we are seeing is I think companies are shifting towards consolidation, where they wanted to try to consolidate as many solutions into one for multiple reasons, to save costs or to simplify their HR connectivity issues, integration. So they just want to have everything in one place so that's easy for them. So that's like a fundamental shift that is happening right now.
There are some big players in the space. I don't need to mention names. I think we kind of know who they are. I work for a company called Evisort, and they just got bought by one, that are kind of these all-in-one platforms. What are you seeing that isn't working in them? that made you want to develop this platform? And how is yours different?
Sure. Yeah. So we can take names like big players in the payroll space. I mean, I'll name a few. There are partners and competitors as well. Like ADP is there, Dayforce, Workday, Paylocity, etc. There's a lot of players. They
Mhm.
do HR in general, HR payroll very good. But then when it comes to employee onboarding, automating the paperwork or functionality like e-signatures, etc., they don't have it. So they just don't have the depth of functionality what we, as an example, we have very uh, a highly customizable product, which is
Mhm.
industry agnostic. It can work for companies as small as 5 employees to as large as 15,000 employees, as an example. So it's very highly customizable. And we are very nimble when it comes to if there is a customer who asks for a feature request. If it makes sense, we will develop it. And we won't throw it in the backlog and wait for 2 years for that to be addressed. So the kind of care that we give the customers and the level or the depth of functionality we have within our suite is more, or I would say much better than the default payroll offerings that you have in the market right now. That's where we
Mhm.
differentiate ourselves. We don't do payroll, but if you are interested in automating your entire HR on employee experience, we have a product for that.
I did, I think, read recently about a partnership with ADP. Is that right? Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, ADP, we're a platinum partner with ADP. So we were one of the first onboarding partners, but started building an integration back in 2017. And back then, it's an interesting story. So we were trying to see or figure out a way to generate more leads for HR Cloud in addition to organic leads. And there is this marketplace concept from ADP that opened up, just like Apple App Store. They list all the HR applications. And if you are a company who wants to try it out, you can do that. And there is a commission which we give to ADP for the services. And ADP was on the verge of losing one of their customers because they wanted to try out a different payroll company. And ADP approached us, say, do you have this functionality within that? Sure, we do offer that. But then the problem is we don't have an integration. We were a partner, but we didn't build an integration. And we had to, uh, focus on first trying to show the value to the customer. And then we had a commitment with the customer that, hey, we will have these connections ready by the time you implement our solution, you will have a fully integrated product with ADP, which works as you desire. And then we got quite a few customers from ADP, and anytime ADP do not have a functionality or they lack functionality, and they will refer us. It's a very good partnership that we developed.
I'm sure that opened up the door to a huge new customer base. What else are you doing now to help support HR Cloud's growth?
There's multiple things. So we're back to the basics now. So I'm trying to assess where is our strength. It's definitely in the employee onboarding where it's a longevity. It's been a product which we've been selling for quite some time. And also we have customers from various industries. So we're trying to highlight the industry use cases or testimonials or reviews so that we can talk about it. So you have the functionality. If you don't have a way to showcase it to prospects, it won't show up in the search results, right? I mean, ads can only cut it. You can spend so much in ads, but then there's diminishing returns. Once you have to spend more to get more. So we thought let's focus on search, I mean SEO, and we try to create content which is exactly solving the pain point and focus on a specific industry. So healthcare it is. So we'll just go deep in healthcare and try to showcase as much information which is beneficial for them. That's been working for us. And second thing is we're trying to upsell other products to our existing customer base. Because now that they've used our product, they have a trust that has found over the years. So we constantly check with them, is there anything else that is missing within the product suite, or are you interested in any other product? As an example, after the onboarding product, we have feedback that they are interested, the customers are interested in a recruitment offering. And we developed a recruitment product, which is a natural progression to existing suite. And then they use these two and they're interested in the performance management. So sure, we'll develop a performance management. And then, yeah, based on the feedback, then whatever makes sense, we will add it to our product suite. That's how we kind of develop the product roadmap. And then, they like us. And if you know that the customers who are willing to give us a review or a testimonial, then we'll ask them, are you interested in any other offerings? And then that's how we upsell into the existing customer base.
That's great. I think I always look at, customers are at the very top. We do everything for our customers, and in return, customers help us build better products. What else are you doing to help, support lifetime value and a positive customer experience, throughout the year?
We have an initiative, I think it started in Jan or February, primarily to focus on where is our core strength. We know it's onboarding and engagement solution, but which industry? And even within industry, are we really getting, so it's a time that we send, there's a dollar value that we get from the customer, annual contract value. And then are we really getting that value as in, is it an easy customer? Like, is it easy to implement or are they high maintenance customers? So we're trying to figure out all these aspects, which industry, what products are they using? What's the dollar value? How much of a support do they need? How many tickets do we have? Etc. And then trying to assess based on these criteria, okay, this is the industry, these are the products which resonate well, and let's just focus on this particular segment. It's a project we're trying to do. And then the next step, which is going to happen in the next few months, is to identify the customers who could be our advocates and try to empower them. They could help us get more, and then try to create like podcasts like these or webinars where we introduce the customers and highlight their use case. How did so and so got so much benefit using HR Cloud, etc. So that's in the plan for us.
Let's talk about your role as CEO. What a typical day like is for you.
Yeah, it's a lot. So it's divided into 3 or 4 segments. So one is I started as a technology person, product development person. So it's split between product development, where I check with my team abroad on the sprint priorities. So I make sure that my priorities are included in the roadmap, in addition to the customer deliverables, right? If there is anything from our customers, first, number one is the customers. Make sure the customer problems were addressed, number one. Number two, security and other things is always the top priority for me. And other thing is the sales. I mean, I'm the voice of the sales team. So I bring in my value where I listen to my sales team and see, okay, they are asking for these requirements or functionality within the product. If it's missing, I'll make sure that my product team will work on those. That's on the product development. The other one is customer support. So I interact with the customer support team on a regular basis to make sure we get paid on time. And then, if there are any issues which the customer is facing, and identify them and try to address it before they churn. So that's been a high priority item for me right now. And the third thing is to do an upsell. So if they like us, can we try to, sell them our other products, etc. And the last one is the marketing and sales. So yeah, the podcast, SEO, and using ChatGPT and other things. How do we get ahead of the curve so that we show up in Google search results and AI results? That's been a challenge for us. And I'm trying to break my head, trying to learn how we can crack it so that we can show up in the Google top search results and LLM search results.
I've been talking to a lot of CEOs lately, and they all have different philosophies of approaching leadership. And so I would love to know, what makes you a good leader? What are you finding in your interaction with your team helps you drive like success within the team?
It's got multiple things. So I ensure that there's no hidden agenda that I have that the teams or my employees do not know. I make sure whatever is in my head. So what am I trying to do? I wanted to get to a revenue number. I would ensure that there is open communication from me to my direct reports and also employees in the organization. So everybody knows what we are trying to get after. So it could be closing this big deal and everybody wants to, build this functionality so that we can win this RFP, or it could be that you have to develop these features so that we can get this much revenue from our new customers or our existing customers. The transparency is very, very important. And the second thing is I try to empower my team. So sure, I would try to help them to a point where they get the support that they needed from me. And after that, I would let them do it. So I'll make sure, okay, these are the goals or KPIs. I try to do my best working with my direct team members to set the KPIs and then ensure that they meet them. And then every week I have a weekly cadence. I don't believe in annual performance reviews, but rather I have to have a continuous feedback loop with my team on a weekly basis on every month. And I do that ad hoc with my developers or interns as well. Whenever I get time, I try to set up a call with them and try to ask them how are things, is there anything that they would like to change or any complaints with their direct manager, etc. So the communication is very important, and then I try to empower them to do their best. That's how I would operate.
I think that's great. Communication seems to be a common theme. So you've been, in this role and working in tech and at HR Cloud for a while. And so you've seen things that worked and didn't. So what's one thing that you've tried with product or now with sales that didn't work as well as expected? And what did you learn from that? And how did you implement those changes?
Yeah, in the past, actually, in the beginning days, I was a product, I mean, CTO back then. We had an onboarding product. Sure, we had few customers, like 25 customers or 50 customers in the initial days. And then we tried to make HR Cloud as a platform where you have every application, right? You have one for time tracking, expense management, you name it, we got it. And then we went to these trade shows and we tried to showcase that this is like an app hub where you have a ton of applications to choose from. But then it didn't resonate. Nobody bought it. So, and then we went back to the basics and looked at our existing customer base. They like our solution. We just need to focus on it. So listen to them and get their feedback and have a strong hold. And then later on, during pandemic, which was a nice transition because so until 2020, we were focused on everything with HR, etc. And then post COVID, obviously there is a need to engage employees, recognize employees. And then we shifted our focus to this employee engagement recognition communication product, which is called Workmates. And then we started to get some traction from ADP. They referred us more business, and there were a couple of very good win stories. Where there's one example I could take. It's a educational institution. They have 7,000 staff members in 11 states in the U.S., and they wanted a place to communicate and engage their staff members across various districts, schools, etc. And then they chose us because we are already integrated with ADP and we have the functionality, and then we developed it. So, and then it started to pick up. So listening to the customers, that's the important thing. So don't think we can think so much, but if it doesn't resonate with what prospects or customers are looking for, it doesn't make any sense. So always listen to the customers.
Yeah, definitely. I think you mentioned in the beginning that post pandemic, one of the trends is this consolidation of solutions or services within a platform or applications. And then you mentioned that you initially just went out with a platform trying to do everything. How are you balancing that now?
Now things have changed. We have a customer base, decent customer base, and we have customers from various industries, to name a few: education, technology firms, primarily global technology firms who happen to have staff across various countries, and education companies, recently public sector companies. So yeah, now we can see the trends, right? How does our product resonate with various industries, and what kind of products do they purchase? And listening to the customer support team. And I think now it got to a point where we have a products have gotten more mature, and now it's natural for us to develop more functionality so that they don't have to buy 5 different solutions to do these things. Sure, we don't do payroll. They can rely on a payroll company, but everything else we do. We can do hiring, onboarding, engagement, performance management, time and vacation tracking. And we're adding a new product now to our suite for learning management. It's a learning management product, and also shift planning. It's like a Swiss knife, I would say. We're not there yet, but that's the plan. So we wanted to offer as much value for our customers so they can just be here and get the job done.
Actually, working on my certification to be a coach, and I've worked at a company that focused on skills training for leadership development. So have a personal interest in that. So can you elaborate on that new application that you're building if you're able to do
Yeah,
that?
sure. There's twofold. So my focus is to not to make a learning management product to cater every business, every industry, but rather focused on these frontline workers or medical staff or healthcare industries where they have their employees always on the move, and they need to go through their onboarding as part of the new hire orientation, or as part of their compliance every 3 months, every 6 months. They have to go through these training videos so that they complete a course and make sure that they're always compliant. We have a way to do that, but we don't have the way where we can provision these courses and make sure that we're tracking the completion, etc. We just don't have those. So my plan is to, make our product, or tweak our product rather, to add this functionality on our existing infrastructure and to cater this industry segment. And once we get initial traction, once we close a couple of deals, then we'll try to add on more. Yeah, like you said, skill development. That goes very well or naturally as part of the performance management. So you do the evaluation, you have a development plan. You don't have a good rating, you have to go through training and you have to provide additional courses, etc. Yeah, those could be done, but I wanted to take baby steps. So I'll start with this only for this industry. And then as we get more feedback, we'll integrate with other uh, HR modules, etc.
I have personal experience with that. I first life was a physical therapist and I worked in home
Mm,
care. And so I was on the move all the time.
okay. Yeah, home healthcare is number one vertical. Within healthcare, it's a home healthcare.
And I ran an agency for 3 years when I lived in
Oh,
DC,
okay.
a whole other life. So if you had a magic wand to solve one thing in your business right now, the one thing that keeps you up at night, what would that be?
One thing is to, I have multiple things, but if I just had to choose one thing, it would be how to generate more sales qualified leads. So right now, it's just from one channel that's been working for us, which is organic Google search. I just need to figure out a way to scale it.
Okay, let's talk about the product. So, there's a lot in there right now, and you've definitely shared a lot about employee engagement and onboarding are the core features.
Pillars, yeah.
What's one that people might underestimate or overlook, but that has a lot of value that people need to know about?
Yeah, there is another product that we offer, which is global time off vacation tracking module. Interesting story is, as I mentioned, we have employees in three different time zones, like US, Vietnam, and Croatia, and that we use our own products. So we developed it just to make sure that we know who is working and who's on a vacation, etc. And then to track their accruals, etc. That's how we developed the product. And then now we've got decent traction on this product, and we have customers who have this unique use case where it's a global organization. They have employees in, let's say, two or three different countries. And there's no one product which can work in these different countries. Like there could be product which works only in Asia, like India or Malaysia, etc. Or there could be one in which could work or do a good job in Europe only, European region, similar to US. But there's not a single product which I could think of which works in these three different continents. And we kind of have a unique product because I mean we didn't develop it because we developed it only for our own use case, and which is now helping us identify customers who have this need, and it's working pretty well. Whoever is using it, they really love this product. And also we have an integration with ADP for time off module, and it's a very good value add for ADP as well.
That's that's great. And then for working with these companies in all these three different countries, and it sounds like healthcare might be one of the verticals that you're focusing on. How are you managing the different, for people to want to purchase it, compliance issues? Because they'll be different in these different countries.
Yeah. So it's two different things. So again, we don't, are a software provider. We don't manage the complaints per se, but we have a solution which can adapt to your complaints needs. It could be automating the paperwork. So in US I-9 form, E-Verify, every employee has to go through this process. So we have it built in. But should there be a form which is specific to a state in the US, there is a way to do it. And we work with companies who happen to have, I mean, they have to be at a certain size, right, to make any sense. So let's say a company with uh, 1,000 employees, definitely they would have at least five employees who are on HR team or on the HR team. They know what they need. And if they know what they need, if they know the local regulations, then our software can adapt to their requirements and create a workflow and make sure the compliance is intact. That's how it would work. But it doesn't make sense for a company who's too small. They don't have an HR. We do the federal forms, few state specific forms, but anything specific to your need, you have to have somebody on staff who knows what they need, and they could let us know, and we build the forms for them. It's a white glove service. So they just need to let us know, hey, this form has been updated. Can you have it built? So we build it for them, and then we will add it in the global library of forms. So any customer of ours can benefit from that.
I think that's another great feature that people might not know about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And then I know you already kind of shared one customer story. Can you share another one that really showed some meaningful transformation within their own company when they adopted HR Cloud?
Yeah, definitely. There is another education customer. We closed them, I think, October last year. It's an ADP customer, and they have a unique need. They onboard 3,000 uh, employees or staff members, seasonal employees, every year. Every semester, they end up hiring these staff members at scale. And they wanted a solution which can um, automate the process so that you can hire them at scale. And also, they are Gen Z workers. So everybody's around less than 30 years old. And obviously, they don't have access to computers. They are always on the mobile phone. And they wanted a solution which works on the mobile phone. On top of that, they don't want to use email. They just want to be notified via text messages. That's another interesting use case. We support email from the get-go, but then text messages, SMS, specific notification was fairly new for us. And we had to, have develop this particular feature for that customer. And then they had a strict deadline. They wanted to go live in 2 months so that they could be ready for the semester so that they could start hiring these employees or staff members. So we had to work during Thanksgiving, Christmas to develop this SMS functionality and then delivered it on time so that they were able to hire these staff members. And they were quite happy. And then we got a great review from them, and we're hoping that they would be able to buy more of our product offerings as well in the near future.
Well, hopefully you can use that capability now in the entire platform itself
Yeah,
too.
definitely. Yeah. This notification is a big deal outside the US, actually. And then our system can work without an email address. It could just work with the phone number. You don't have
Yeah.
to have an email.
I spoke to another CEO of this company called Volt, and that's what they do. They focus on SMS.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we talked about is the difference between the United States and everywhere else in the world, and how we still use SMS, but they're all
They
using
use
like
WhatsApp
WhatsApp.
and other,
Yeah,
exactly.
so totally different. But what I learned that I thought was fascinating is that our limitation is because some of our big tech companies aren't, I might not get this completely right, but completing the work that they need to do. I think Apple might be one of them, so that we can actually use platforms like us or like WhatsApp.
Mhm.
Okay, so if someone would like to get in touch with you, Krishna, and reach out to you directly or learn more about HR Cloud, what would be the best places for them to do that?
Yeah, they can reach out to me. My email address is krishna@hrcloud.com, or they can visit hrcloud.com and then explore the products. They can request a demo, or they wanted to reach out to us, they can reach out.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for being on the show.